are the issues that countries need to cooperate on together because they cannot be addressed by individual countries on their own? When this question is asked, the responses that usually come up usually range from pandemics to climate change, but I think that it's important to emphasize that the logic of cooperation also applies to more state-centric traditional security concerns as well. And I'm just going to highlight three of them. One of them has to do with strategic stability in the nuclear realm. This is particularly true due to the very uneven dynamics of the US, Russia, China triangle in this case, because of China's much smaller nuclear arsenal than the United States and Russia, which makes any sort of agreement between those three parties quite difficult. And so there's much room there, for example, for member states of the European Union to be able to step up and to act as interlocutors between these parties, or at least to assert their own agency to ensure that the European continent's stability and security is enhanced. And this is particularly important for a continent like Europe, where all these countries are geographically situated quite close to one another. The second issue has to do with the Middle East and with refugees. The rivalry between European countries and Russia has driven a logic in which Russia is capable of using refugees as a tactical lever against European countries. However, there's actually much room if the logic of confrontation is overcome somehow, or at least to a limited degree in Europe. There is room for cooperation between the European Union and Russia in the Middle East, and there's actually a great deal of complementarity there due to Russia's political and military influence in places like Syria and Iran, combined with the economic clout of the European Union. There's ample room there for some sort of agenda that can stabilize what is in effect the European Union and Russia's wider neighborhood. And the final issue has to do with economic integration or harmonization, at least to a small extent, or as much as is possible, between the European Regulatory Order and the Eurasian Economic Union Regulatory Order, which both clashed in the context of the Ukraine crisis 6 years ago and ultimately produced the war in the Donbass that we see continuing to occur today. So it's pretty clear all these years later that attempting to address these issues on their own has not been successful. Sanctions have not changed one another's behavior. Selective engagement has produced only limited results and is in fact also a form of selective disengagement. And there's a possibility for flare-ups for any number of reasons, and instability always coming to knock at the door. So we may not always agree with each other all the time, but there still is the need for some sort of new cooperative security paradigm in pan-European relations, in which red lines are very clearly determined or at least accepted or recognized by various sides, and in which there is a more extensive policy agenda for cooperation that is put forward on the table.